It's how it is. It's how these tournaments can go. But we have our first semifinals ready for us. No predictions yet. I'll set up the predictions for the next semifinals. We're going in raw, Bobby. We're going in raw.
Oh my. Well, regardless, we are going in raw here on Babylon. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea, representing CranKy Gaming, DKG. And also Zest, maybe a little bit of an identity crisis going on here. We have herO.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have an Eric fan as he goes for a 15-15. You love it to see it. The South Korean Zerg player representing Onside Gaming. It is Solar.
That's the first thing I think of when I think of Solar. Number one biggest Eric fanboy that we've ever had, aside from maybe Pig.
It's very true. It's very true. It has been known that Solar, he's got a Brazilian flag, not behind him because we don't see it in the WTL cameras, but it's actually in front of him. It's actually behind his monitor that he looks at all the time.
Yeah, every time he feels a little bit stressed, he just looks up and he thinks, "I'll do it for you." And then he wraps himself up in the flag.
He does. Solar has been learning some Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's been pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. He could bench press just about anyone. Wait, no, that's not jiu-jitsu. Grapple anyone. There we go.
There you go. The rear naked chokehold. He's very proficient. Very proficient.
We've seen it multiple times. He is a man of many talents, and we'll see how proficient he is as well in utilizing the Eric build here.
Yeah, so for those wondering, the purpose of the 15-15, it is to get your hatchery on time, on location. We are not forced to take the unnatural natural. Solar says no to this probe, and he's actually able to expand in a pretty normal place.
Which is not something you see very often here, from what I've been told.
Yeah, from what you've seen as well, right? Like, for years, Papi, Zerg players have not been allowed to take their natural expansions. But with the arrival of Eric, that all changes.
Yeah. He is the Zerg Messiah in more ways than one.
In far more ways than one. As behind this, herO's actually spicing things up. We are on Babylon, a bit of a smaller map, but that's not a Stargate.
No, it is not. That is, in fact, going to be a Twilight Council first, coming out from herO right off the bat. Which seems like a very risky move right now, especially after scouting the opening of Solar.
100%. As he does pull out of gases, and this will be a Glaive Adept opener. Typically, when a Zerg player is able to get their natural base up and running, there's a couple of things that this does. One, the creep spread is much more well spread out here between the bases. On top of that, we're able to make use of this ramp as well and wall off against those adepts and deny them entry into the natural. It honestly does make it more difficult to pull this off. But also, I guess maybe unexpected as well, right? Like, I'm sure Solar isn't really anticipating this from herO at all.
That's 100% what I think is going on in herO's mind right now. He sees exactly how greedy Solar is being and how potentially aggressive he can be as the game progresses. And he decides, you know what? I can't let him take the initiative. I need to be the player who goes across the map. I'm not going to hide behind my walls and my oracles. I'm going to get right on top of your face with a little bit of a proxy pylon as well, which actually immediately gets scouted.
The pylon is under the Overlord. No shame here from herO at all. Behind this, how many gates do we have? We have 2 gates here at the natural. We have 2 gates in the main, so it's going to be 4-gate Glaive Adepts. It's not very committed. There's no Robo with this either, so he should be expanding behind this. He shouldn't be all in, and Solar should have plenty of time to react.
Yeah, that 4 pylon will give him a little bit of a foothold here to just pump his adepts in and try to get whatever damage he can get done. But Solar is now getting his Roach Ward, and like you said, herO doesn't expect to end the game with his adept aggression.
Ooh, he does commit to the shade, and he's going to be going toe-to-toe with these queens. The high energy queen is going to be going down. We didn't have enough energy for Transfuse.
Yeah, not on any of these other queens at least. Already a very good pick off here from herO. And he's just continuing to threaten this. Solar got this third base very, very early on. I think he started building it at about the 2-minute mark. but he just has not been able to make use of it, save for getting a couple of Zerglings here and there.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't been able to mine whatsoever. herO does have his own third base behind this as well. He is macroing out of this. And so far, the Adepts have done a great job of just zoning Solar away at the same time. There wasn't a wall! No!
Oh, no! This was the only way things could have gone wrong for herO, and it just about went wrong.
Exactly. I mean, he does commit to the shade. He's getting some damage, but no, Solar is so quick to pull his boys away. He keeps his workers alive, and I can't say the same for herO as he loses 8 probes across the map.
Yeah, at the very least, it is only 8 probes. You know, it could have very easily been 12 or even 15. But, yeah, safe to say that this is already pretty game-ending damage, all things considered. I mean, he is getting his third base just about done right now, so he can continue to produce probes, and the fact that he was forcing Solar to get so many army units does mean that they are actually on pretty similar economic footing. But at this point, Solar's looking to counter harass. He is looking to make use of all these links he made earlier on, and these roaches are gonna put a stop to just about any adept aggression that hero's gonna attempt from here on out.
That's the thing, right? Like, Solar, he has a better army right now. He has a mass amount of roaches this time. The Adepts do shade into that third base, but again, there are no drones to deal with. Links across the map. Oh, the wall is not a wall. Once again, they do get in, they do kill the Adept, and they flood into that mineral line for a second time.
herO is a little bit frazzled right now. No other way to really put it here.
Yeah,
these aren't typically mistakes that we expect from him.
Exactly. This game has just been so chaotic, and at every turn, Solar just takes advantage of that. As you were saying, his worker count leaves much to be desired, and I don't know if Solar is gonna ever push out without Roach speed. Lair is still on the way, so I think herO is relatively safe, but herO, he just keeps making more Adepts. I mean, what else can he make, right?
Well, you know what? This is commitment. Let me tell you, it's much appreciated. He is definitely working on a follow-up. The wall is still not a wall. This is the third time this game. But there are there is a lot more production this time, and there are a lot of Adepts at home, so Solar should not be able to get much done. Not be able to get much more damage done here, but he still gets a full-on scout. He still is able to pull the army back and prevent herO from really getting any sort of map presence. All the while, Roach speed just began. Yeah. Solar's continuing to, well, actually stop droning at 55, but, you know, he was allowed to get to 55 drones, which is worrisome.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. Like, as soon as Roach speed is done, oh my god, he's
still not a wall!
Like, shout out to herO. You know, he's a very welcoming player. You know, if you show up suddenly unannounced, he will just let you into the house, and he'll let you into the fridge. He's very accommodating. But you know, in a game like StarCraft, you can't.
You have to lock up your doors. Board it up.
Board it up, Bobby. Kick them out, Bobby. Kick them out. And as you were alluding to, as soon as Roach speed kicks in, Solar can be aggressive. These Adepts are gonna fare pretty poorly against Roach Ravager in a head-on fight. We are working on Immortals. It's all going to be about how many Immortals we have out in time to defend against the oncoming Roach Bush.
But, hear me out on this, Light. A Disruptor is on the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's over.
This isn't just copium.
It's no longer copium, Bobby. It's real. herO, he has a chance. He does have the first Disruptor on the way, as you were saying. Do you have some Lings moving out to scout at least? The Adepts are going to be threatening a shade. They aren't going to be looking to commit, though, because really there's nothing else to protect the Immortals or those Disruptors. The Adepts are the only thing keeping Solar away from them.
Yeah, but even still, anything that herO can do right now to just keep this RB back is going to be very, very useful. He's target firing really, really well as well. He's shaving off the Roach count, still trading pretty inefficiently, all things considered. But, you know, at this point, I think he's fine with losing the Adepts as long as he is able to get rid of a couple of Ravagers and a couple of Roaches.
Yeah, exactly. And this Prism is also doing a great job of just keeping Solar back at home, keeping him busy. And the herO, he's amassing a decent army. Now he actually has Stalkers to help protect his high-tech robo units. You know, he has a decent force. By no means can he ever push. I don't think he can push out anytime soon. But oh, it's going to be a moment here where he's actually going to be going to harass with his Disruptors.
Very ballsy move right now, considering they are the only anti-Roach unit that herO has right now. He's being so careful as well. Thankfully for herO, he is able to dodge the majority of Solar's queens. But he's still not going to be able to find much damage here, you know? A very quick pre-pull from Solar does ensure that, and pre-split as well, does ensure that these disruptors have to find something else to target.
Yeah, Solar, he knows that the disruptors aren't at home to defend, so he's just sending everything across the map to counterattack instead. He knows that herO is now at his most vulnerable. He does confirm the army. He does see it trying to bust down these rocks, and there we go. We do recall those disruptors back home.
And at this point, anything can really... This fight could really go either way. Solar still has slow banes, and these disruptors are getting quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, 2 big Novas go off on the main army of Solar. herO pushing on forward here. Once again, another Nova goes off on those Banelings.
And that's really a money unit that you want to get rid of as early as possible. Another huge disruptor purification Nova will take out a massive chunk of roaches. Banelings do crash in, but they only crash into Immortals.
Yeah, but you know what? They take down the majority. Every single disruptor has gone down to the Banelings. Pile's even connecting onto the ground army as well. Solar is running out of steam, though. He doesn't have a lot of Roach Ravager remaining, and he will have to back off.
Yeah, surprisingly. Solar also was on, I think on 0-0 upgrades for most of that fight. +1 just kicked in for him. Meanwhile, herO is fighting with +2 the entire time.
And now the pendulum is swinging in favor of herO. He's going for a massive counterattack. There's a Link counterattack going across the map as well, but no, Solar, he brings it back. He wants to go for a surround.
And he really needs to at this point. That's a lot of Banelings! And they will actually not connect on too much here. Immortals do go down, however, thanks to those Links coming in for that surround. Yeah. And now it's time for herO to run out of steam.
Exactly.
Or is it?
The Immortals went down, the Disruptors went down. Oh god, he takes another bile to the face. And Solar, he's barely hanging on. He's pretty all in. He cut workers at 69. He's at 67 now at this point. But
not so nice.
Which is 3-way saturation, but it is enough to facilitate a Ling Bane Roach Ravager army. But another Disruptor has hit the field.
Yeah, Solar has to be very careful with how he engages here. It is only one Disruptor, so he's feeling pretty safe to kite back, but he has to be very careful when it comes to the counterattack. You know, there's barely any creep here, aside from at the edge of the bases, so Solar can't really punish herO's army while it retreats.
Yeah, exactly. He can't really punish the army, but he can punish the economy. 5 probes go down across the map. The Disruptors have reset the Novas once again, and herO is breaking on through. The boys have to be pulled.
And at such a low econ, this is a very costly trade. Solar was doing really well shaving off the probe count of herO, but now it's basically a moot point as both of our players are on equal worker supply, and that can only favor the Protoss player.
Oh, it really can, and this time the Disruptors have been able to survive. More Novas are going to be going off one after the other on the Ravagers. Good target firing towards the end, but now there is 0 Ravagers remaining for Solar.
Yeah, it was some really great target firing towards the end here for Solar, but he needed great target firing from the start. 16 probes go down, surprisingly? So if Solar is able to survive this, then he still has a shot, but that's a very beefy Protoss army, and GG is called. herO will be taking game number 1.
GG, well played. A very chaotic game 1 at that. herO initially going into Glaive Adepts. Didn't really work out for him. It didn't really do too much damage, but he bought so much time to get into his Immortal production, to get into his Disruptor production, and we saw some really juicy connections out of those Disruptors.
Oh, yeah. Something about herO, he's one of the very few players where if you put him up against a wall like that, he just focuses everything on that one path to victory that he knows he has. He is one of the most decisive players to ever grace StarCraft 2.
100%, and you know, sometimes he focuses too much on that win condition, and he leaves his door open for run-bys time and time again, but it's okay, you know, he was able to recover regardless, and he was able to fight back in this series, take game 1, and now he's 1 game away from taking the entire series and moving on to the grand finals.
Yeah, look, when you bring your door with you, you can't lock up your home. I don't know what that analogy was. You can't something about wrestling, you know, when you slam into the ring with the door, that door has to come from somewhere.
He brought it from home. There you go. This is a PSA for Protoss players out there. leave your door at home. only herO
You can find a
leave with
door
it.
on the way, you know?
Exactly.
On the way to the ring.
Hold the door, Pappy. Hold the door.
Or even use your opponent's door, you know?
Ah, there you go. There you go. Do people use doors in wrestling? Is that a thing?
I don't know, actually.
I know they use ladders and they use steel chairs. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they use wood chairs as well.
True.
So I assume wooden doors and steel doors.
Oh.
That sounds heavy. But speaking of heavy, here we are now at the top right-hand corner of the map, spotting all the way at the top right-hand corner, where we, of course, have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He's, of course, going to be representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming, DKG, as well as Zest. For some reason, we have herO.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Altitude, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing on Side Gaming. It is Solar.
This time, not going for the Eric build, and will be forced to take the unnatural natural instead.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for Solar. 14 hatches have actually been very popular here on Altitude just because of the rush distance, but herO was able to get here in time, and yeah, Solar didn't go for a 14 hatch anyway, so yeah, unfortunately this time he will have a bit of a harder base layout here to defend against Glaive Adepts, which means herO, if he wanted to, he could try and do it again.
Yeah, it worked decently well for him in game number 1. And it should, I mean, on paper anyway, it should work even better here in game number 2 on a map like Altitude, where there's just so much space to jump between the bases.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the rush distance is very long, but as we saw in game 1, herO is willing to go for a Glaive Adept opener without a robo and rely on a pylon to warp in instead, and that kind of bypasses the rush distance, and it makes, you know, these builds a little bit more threatening on a map like Altitude as well. But we'll see. You know, herO by no means has to pigeonhole himself into a Twilight Council opener. He is very well versed in almost every opener. He can do quite a lot in this matchup.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about openers and openings, but I'll refrain from that for now. As so far we are just going pretty economic from both of our players. You're opting for the Stargate this time, which is a lot more standard and something that we've come to expect a lot more of when it comes to our Protoss players in PvZ.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I'm curious, Yaku, do you have like 2 doors in apartment buildings? Is that a thing?
We have the front door, which is made of wood, and then we have a gate, which is like made of metal.
Yeah, it's like a gate that you can like have the door open and you can let air in, but you have like the gate to like keep you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the leopards out.
So which door do you take?
That's a good question. Which is lighter? Which is easier to take? Probably the metal door.
The metal, yeah.
The metal gate.
The steel door.
Yeah. But then if you take the wooden door, you know, you can use it as a boat if you need to.
You can knock Rose off Jack off and oh god.
Whoa!
I didn't realize what I said.
What are you doing with your door? But yeah,
his name is Jack, right? In Titanic, it's Jack, right? Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Just knock him off.
Yeah, that did happen.
That did happen.
Can't do that.
That did happen. That was an 18+ movie. We couldn't. Yeah.
It was actually. Although they cut a couple of scenes so they could make it more PG.
Oh god.
For the home release, from what I remember.
Aye. I'm moving on.
Triple Oracle coming out here from herO as we move on.
Yeah, it is going to be triple Oracle opener. It is going to be very economic, so he's getting his starbase up and running. So a very macro opener here from herO, but still very deadly in the hands of herO. These Oracles and Adepts can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, especially somebody who is as good as multitasking as herO. He can do it all.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
multiple things at a time. A lot of queens here from Solar, however, taking this very, very seriously. He knew that it was a Stargate opening coming out from herO, and he's not taking any chances. Well, except from his natural base, where he doesn't actually have any spores.
Yeah, no spore here at the natural, so looking a little bit vulnerable. At the same time, we have Adepts being set up on the left-hand side. Looks like we're going to be threatening a move out, but for the most part, we are going to be staying back at home with them. We're not going to be going for any kind of mass harass with Oracles in conjunction with Adepts. Looks like herO is going to be a little bit more passive instead, and he is transitioning into his Forge and Twilight Council. Yeah,
definitely the smarter option here from herO, which is why I'm a little bit surprised he's going for it.
Look, he can, he can be calm if he is required to be so, to do so, as the Oracle's once again just going to be dipping in between bases. They get 1, 2 workers here, 3 drones actually, and oh, they barely escape with their lives.
Yeah, nice little bit of damage, and he, like you said, he keeps every single one of them alive. Use it at a later date. I can't lie, I was looking at chat.
Yeah, the chat's catching up. Yeah, I was looking as well. Oh, God.
Yep.
I was talking about the character in Titanic, okay?
That was a thing that happened.
It did happen.
In that movie.
I watched it.
You saw it, you witnessed it.
I was watching, Papi.
Has it happened?
Yeah. It's beautiful. Nothing to be ashamed of.
Yep.
Oh, God. As we... I'm gonna allow this as well. Yeah, go on.
I was about to ask that, yeah. But as we get our minds out of the gutter a little bit, off of doors, we take a look at what's going on in game, and Solar, he has decided what he's going for this time. That's a lot of roaches that are in production. Goliath Reconstitution is about to finish up as well in about 30 seconds. Creep Highway is on the way.
Yeah, so
this knows exactly how he wants to punish herO's passivity.
This is a very similar opener herO built from Solar as he did in game number 1, where he's cutting workers at 69. That is nice. The number you want to be stopping at here, and he's just amassing Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager. I say that I believe we don't have a Baneling Nest, so actually just pure Ling, Roach, Ravager, no upgrades either, so there's a lot of longevity here. Solar is going to be committing essentially to a 3-base all-in, or 4-base all-in.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Solar is still mining from that 4th base location, but I guess he thinks on a map like Altitude, he wants to end the game quickly, but realistically, there's a very high possibility that he's not going to, so... yeah, if this game has to continue, he's getting ready for that.
Yeah, and there we go. Now we have +1 melee on the way, Baneling Nest, and we are saturating that 4th base. So Solar is kind of diverging his plans, but he's in a really rough position as a result. Like, his droning isn't anywhere near as quickly as herO's, and his upgrades are quite delayed as well. It does look like Solar didn't really intend for the game to go on for this long, but he is, adjusting as he recognizes they can't quite break herO.
Yeah, he seems to have been anticipating herO to go for something similar to game number 1, which was a unit composition that was a lot more adept heavy before going into a Robo Bay, but this time herO focused a lot more on his stalkers early on, which, funnily enough, roaches and ravagers aren't great against. They can trade against them, but not as well as, say, +1 Lynx can.
Yeah, exactly. And now herO's in a pretty good position as a result. Like, he's got 4 bases up and running. He's been able to mine more for longer as well because of Solar's lower worker count initially. We do see him maybe being a little bit too cavalier. Does run into the army of Solar, and Solar wants to try to punish this. Solar has now maxed out.
Yeah, he's catching herO in the middle of the map. Still a little bit of a risk here for Solar, as there is no creep, but overall, he saw an opportunity and he went for it.
Yeah, he does back off, and this is dangerous. Solar, with this maxed out army, he has to make something happen sooner rather than later because we have Skytoss. We have a Fleet Beacon and a Stargate on the way. herO is not looking to be too aggressive. He's posturing on the map, but he's transitioning into a higher tech army, and Solar is stuck with Roach Ravager.
Yeah, he needs to get rid of some of these units fast. He is getting his infestation pit now, and it looks like he's going to go into lurkers eventually. Hydra Den is about to finish up.
Yeah, exactly.
But like you said, he needs to actually trade with his army instead of, just keeping them at home.
Yeah, the problem is that Solar, he doesn't know, right? He just doesn't know that his opponent is taking up this quickly. Carriers are already in production, and Solar's cleaning up these Zealot run by. Sure, like Solar, he's holding on to these bases, but even so, taking into Hydra Lurker is not going to be enough.
Not yet. Not to deal with carriers. Yeah, herO's doing such a good job of keeping Solar at bay and hiding his transition really well. Part of it, I guess, is also the fact that, you know, herO is posturing on the map, but you normally expect him to go a lot more aggressive as well.
Yeah,
if he is posturing like this.
100%. I'm pretty sure that's what Solar assumes. He assumes that herO is going to go for a big committed push, but he hasn't been. And as a result, Solar's just been stuck with this big army and hasn't really been able to do too much. He's been keeping up with some of these run bys, but those run bys, they didn't require such a large commitment into this Roach army to begin with, as herO is taking a 5th base, setting up for a 6th base as well. We have a 3rd Stargate for triple carrier production, and herO has to be careful not to rally out across the map, but he has to be careful not to show his hand, but Solar is still in the dark.
Yeah, those old Oracle paths, or rally paths, definitely a little bit of an issue right now. Solar finally makes his way across the map for the first time in a long time in this game. And herO is still hiding his carriers. He doesn't want to reveal them unless he absolutely needs to. herO, he's defending so hard with so little.
He really is. Disruptors are out. Here we go. The carriers are now revealed, and this is going to trigger a massive counterattack. At the same time, the 5th base of herO is going to be denied by this Roach run by, but does herO care too much? It looks like he's sending his ground army to deal with that counterattack. Meanwhile, the carriers should be pushing out across the map.
Yeah, he needs to go, and he is going. Thankfully for herO, you know, he did go for a bit of an aggressive 5th base location. So once he defends this, he is going to be looking primed to also punish some of the bases of Solar, unless he turns around.
And he is turning around. Okay, he turns back around after that. So the Link counterattack is going to get cleaned up. We do have Vipers and Hydras on the way, but the question is how many? We have 10 Hydras. 10 Hydras to deal with the 4 carriers. I don't really think we have enough anti-air.
Yeah, there's also only going to be 1 Viper here, and even then, that Viper's going to need a little bit of time to suck up some youth juice and get enough energy to really yoink these carriers. How much energy does a yoink cost, actually? 25? 50? 75?
These are questions that I wish I had the answers to, as we do have the Hydra army coming in from behind, but there's not a lot to protect them. Oh, they're being focused on one after the other. And the Roach counterattack is doing some damage. It is keeping the attention of herO back at home, and it's giving Solar some room to rebuild his Hydra count.
Yeah. Worst comes to worst, you know, like you said, losing these Roaches, even to take out a cannon or anything, is still in that gain here for Solar, because he just needs to get rid of them so he can get more Hydras.
Yeah, we're now up to 14 Hydras, soon to be 17 Hydras against 7 carriers. I don't know if this is really going to work out. Good target firing on those disruptors, though.
Yeah, 1 Purification Nova will pop off, but that definitely could have been way worse here for Solar.
Yeah, we had
Queens are here as well, and that was a massive yoink. Another massive yoink.
Yeah, 2 carriers do get abducted, but there was only 1 Viper, and now the rest of the carriers do reign supreme. Solar knows that he's going for a big counterattack, but the main army here of Solar is going to crumble. Or is it? Up.
We'll see. There's no detection, so those Lurkers are actually getting a lot of volleys off onto the ground army. A lot of the Interceptors as well have been taken out. Rebuilding all these Interceptors is starting to have a pretty noticeable effect on herO's bank.
It really is, as we do see Solar pushing on forward once again. Where is that detection, by the way? We do have an observer on the map, but it's across the map. It's not with the main army. We're relying on Revelations instead.
Yeah, and unfortunately with Revelations, you do have a pretty big chance to miss a couple of Lurkers here and there. A lot of these Lurkers, of course, are still hidden and undetected. And now Solar has room for the first time in this game. Has room to expand. He has room to just rebuild his army to get even more anti-air. He's getting a 2nd Viper. Oh. It's all over.
Let's go. We're doubling the Viper count as we speak, and that's going to be the world of difference. At the same time, a bathing run by being sent to the fresh base of a herO, but no, it is being caught out, and it looks like a herO is going to be able to react in time. Doesn't lose too many workers, or doesn't lose any workers at all. But Solar, he's getting more bases up and running, and he is now maxing out on a far more competitive army to the SkyToss of herO.
Yeah, herO's now going to attempt to switch up his own army composition. I like this idea from herO as well, trying to go for the third base, which has worked out very, very well for him in the past.
Yeah, gold base.
If that sounded sarcastic, it wasn't meant to be. Yeah, herO is one of the few players who consistently goes for these gold bases and is able to make it work.
It's beautiful, mate. It is something that I wish we saw more often from some of the other players out there. herO, he's not afraid. He knows what he can get away with. Speaking of, he's pushing on forward. He has storms. Bear that in mind. A lot of High Templar are with his army, but he's still relying on those revelations to try to keep up with these lurkers.
Yeah, that mothership, I feel, has been in production for a long time, but I guess herO was maxed out for a while, so, yeah, it actually wasn't, there actually wasn't a lot of progress being made on it. But now it's slowly, coming into play.
Oh, this is the one observer.
Soon it will.
It's the one observer on the game in this game, and I think it's going to go down. As we do have a yoink on the first carry, it will go down instantly. We do see a couple of Novas going to be going off as well, but the lurkers are zoning away the ground army from herO.
But on the plus side, the observer is still alive.
The observer sees everything, and herO loses his mineral line. He can't really contest against this, but we do have a couple of Tempests. There we go. Revelation does connect with those lurkers, and the Tempests are going to be able to slowly chip away at these units.
Ooh. Yeah, great feedback on one of these Vipers as well. Really keeping it at bay. herO is losing a lot of workers and quite a few bases as well. But it looks like he's finally making a breakthrough into Solar's army. He has his High Templar, he has his Archons, he has these Tempests as well, and that's making a world of difference when it comes to the engagement. Still has to be very careful pushing up this ramp, though.
He really does. He has to be very meticulous with his army. His Tempest needs to slowly push up this ramp, but no, he doesn't want to take it slow. He wants to push up with everything at once. At the same time, a Link counterattack is going to be punishing that gold base, and herO, yeah, he's kind of caught between two worlds. He wants to defend, he wants to attack, he can't do both. Oh my god.
This is downside. Oh! That mothership coming in clutch. There was no detection with this Zergling run by. And it will allow herO to keep that gold base alive, if only barely.
Yeah, the mothership gets memed on quite a lot, but here this game it does come in clutch. It keeps a base alive. The Link counterattack doesn't do much of anything, but it does give Solar more breathing room here to rebuild his army and make more Hydras. 18 Hydras now on the field. 2 Vipers as well, looking for those abducts.
Yeah, Solar does have to be careful. You know, these High Templar can still get some huge feedbacks. They are able to get one feedback on one of the Vipers by the looks of things. This other Viper has a lot of energy for yoinks, though. And motherships can still be yoinked. Want to point that out. Gold base finally goes down, and now herO is even more all in than he ever was in this map.
Yeah, herO doesn't have a bank. He has to trade as efficiently as possible. Solid feedback on that Viper. I believe every single Viper has gone down. Solar no longer has any abducts to work with, but he gets a kill on another Nexus again, forcing herO all in, forcing him to push into lurkers, which herO just can't do right now.
Yeah, I've got to say, as much as I do prefer herO's army, as much as I do think that herO's army is a lot stronger, lurkers kind of, you know, they're more than all, is how I'll put it.
Oh my god.
Trying to burrow right on top of Solar's army, or herO's army, sorry, but it's not quite able to get the volleys that he needs. The Archons are starting to break through. Every single lurker is detected, and it looks like herO is making that breakthrough.
I was about to say, Solar, he got caught transitioning, or he got caught maneuvering his army amidst rotation. He loses every single lurker. Only 2 lurkers survive. That was the best fight that herO could have hoped for. GG gets called, and herO will take the series at 2-0.
2-0. Very... Very nicely done here from herO, and I have to wonder, was that a little bit of a bait right towards the end there? I mean, you said it yourself, herO took the best fight he could have hoped for when he caught Solar mid-maneuvering around, mid-rotation. That's the phrase I was thinking of. And honestly, that felt pretty intentional from the side of herO. I felt like he could have tried to push into that choke point. You know, he had a very beefy army. It would have cost him a lot, but, you know, I felt like if everything went right with his spellcasters, if he nailed those storms and whatnot, he may have been able to take the fight regardless, but herO said, no, I need to make this even better for myself, and I need to make it look like I'm retreating.
Yeah, exactly. And Solar, he got caught exposed with his pants down, you know. Unfortunately, I want to say like 4, maybe 5 lurkers went down almost instantly because they were exposed, because they were in the middle of moving over to the right-hand side instead, and that was the moment for herO. If it wasn't for that, Solar was actually in a better position. Like, he had an economy.
He really was.
He had a decent army. No Vipers, unfortunately. But like, he wasn't in the worst position. So herO, he needed that to happen. He needed that moments of weakness for Solar to end it all.
Yeah. You know what it was? They were both on the door, but herO pulled a jack.
herO jacked off. Oh god. Yeah, you know, herO, he finds a way. He's just that damn good. GG, well played. My condolences to Solar, as the last Zerg player of the tournament is eliminated. And herO moves on to the grand finals, where he already has an opponent ready and waiting.
Yeah, you say the last Zerg player, but really the last non-Protoss player, as we do have our updates from the other side of the bracket. Creator did take out Gumiho 2-0, and did face Classic, who took out Sats 2-1. Again, pretty decent showing by Sats there. Yeah. Taking a game off of one of the best Protoss players in the world right now. But in that other semifinals, which went by very, very quickly, Classic did take out Creator 2-0, proving himself once again as one of the best Protoss players in the world. And now having that top Korean Protoss player finals here. Classic versus herO in a best of 5 PvP.